Hey YouTube, RP here. Welcome to my channel. We have lights. The dome's finished. The lights are set up and the head freely spins on the Lazy Susan. Let's dig into it and show you how we did this. We have the printed dome pieces. There were near 50 altogether. I'm telling you, printing is just nonstop. Went in there with filler primer and put on a few good coats after sanding. Got those really cleaned up, and then I used a Sonic Blue Pearl from Duplicolor. 3 coats. This went on really nice, and you can see here that the quality of the paint and the closeness of the color is spot on. These turned out really nice. I'm really happy with them, and the next phase was getting them glued in. So I used CA glue. CA glue is a really strong super glue that comes with an activator that I'm spraying on, and then you simply just work the glue into the area that you want to put into the dome. And you have to work pretty quickly with CA glue. If it touches the activator, you have maybe a couple of seconds. It works very quickly. You could use it without the activator to allow for a little bit more time, but you're not going to get as much strength. You're also going to want to make sure that the joints that you are putting the pie pieces into are clear and free of any debris. I just used a little file and sanded down any of the extra paint to make sure that the pie pieces would sit in appropriately. So went through and did this around the entire dome, and you just have to take patience, or be patient, and this is a labor of love. You want to make sure you don't rush anything. I actually rushed a little bit and scraped some of the paint on one of the top dome pieces. You can't see it because I have touched it up a bit, but you know, you spend a lot of time on this, so take your time, do it right. Just enjoy the journey. There's no rush. The worst thing that's going to happen is you ruin something and you sand it back down and you paint it again, but you don't want to have to do that. It's just unnecessary, and things can go well if you just slow up and take time. So this is what the dome looks like with, I would say, 96% of all of the pieces in there. I still have to add, at this point, some of the Holoprojectors, and I'll show you what I did to put those together. But this is looking really nice. There's some static. Just keep it clean and free with a microfiber towel. So let's move on to showing you what I did with the Holoprojectors and how I set that up. Let me show you the Holoprojectors. Keep in mind, I am setting up this R2 build for someone who's on a budget. So if you want to go all crazy and have the Holoprojectors set up to servos, you can do that. Or you can set them up so that you don't go into that initial cost up front and do it in the future when you have more budget. So I'm taking the route where I'm just setting these up so that they move, and there will be the possibility for me to automate these in the future. But right now you can see that these Holoprojectors are placed into position, and you can see the ring that goes around the Holoprojector. That ring is simply pushed through the back, and then there is a cap that I just screwed down with M4 screws, and then you can see a little red piece of material. That red piece of material is actually EVA craft foam, and this is very, very thin. The reason I put that in there is because there is a little bit of space between the Holoprojector and the housing that it sits into. This way it gives me some stability, and I can move the Holoprojector manually and it stays in place. So that was really simple to do. It required almost no cost at all. You can pick this up at any craft store, Michael's, Joann's, whatever craft store you have near you, Hobby Lobby, it doesn't matter. The other thing that I put in there is a glass. And this glass, just set this down. You can order these, they are super cheap. I think I got 5 of these for, I don't know, a couple of dollars, $6, I don't know what it was. But you can see that they have magnification capability. So it creates that really nice illusion. Problem is trying to find the exact size that fits into those Holoprojectors was near impossible. So I went on to Tinkercad, which is a free software. Anybody can use it. It is not that difficult. And I printed some little rings. How many? Oh, I don't know. There's probably like 20 of them in here. It took me a while to get the right width, thickness, and once I figured that out with some trial and error, I don't have a caliper, an electronic caliper, to measure the precision. Otherwise, it would have been really easy to just measure that with a digital caliper. But I had to do some measurements in Cura. Yeah, it took me a few tries, but I got it. And then you just snap that ring onto your little glass piece. Do not glue this. CA glue lets off a gas when it activates, and it will ruin the surface of the lens. So once you have that set in there, this ring will simply allow you to put that into the Holoprojector, and it's got a nice little bite, so it won't back out. So there you go. If I want to add lights in the future, I can add lights in the future, and I can add servos in the future. Same thing with these pie pieces. I can easily crack that CA glue free, and I can put servos into all of those pie pieces. But this is R2 on a budget, and he looks dang cool. By the way, the R2-D2 at Disneyland, it doesn't do a lot of stuff, and they want $25,000 for their model. I don't know, go figure. So that's how I did the Holoprojectors. Now these PSI lights, I gotta be really careful that I don't ding anything up. These PSI lights are a little bit different. These PSI lights, I ordered the light kit from Teeces. You can find information about that on astromech.net. And Teeces Light Kit came with a couple of plastic pieces that are diffused. You can see that you can't see through them. They're not transparent. But these plastic pieces were a little bit large for the actual holes of the pie plate. So I had to trim them down with a Dremel. That was not very difficult to do. I would simply trace the hole size on the plastic piece, and then I just used my little Dremel here, which I love, and with the sanding tip, and then I just went literally around that plastic piece down there. and cut it to size. I'm all over the place with the camera today, I'm sorry. But I think you get the idea, and then I did glue that in. So let me show you what the front PSI looks like. This was solid, had a base. I melted it out, and there's still a little teeny ring right there that's going to fit on the inside of that PSI, or the backside, I should say, of that PSI plate. Let me get this glued on. I'll show you what that's going to look like. And that's it. Installed. Now I'm going to put a piece of wax paper on there to diffuse it even more. And then same thing as the rear PSI mount. The light sits right there. And then somewhere, I don't know where, but I've got a cap. There it is. It's hooked to the light. And that cap is just going to screw on and hold that light in place. So let's get this installed. I am installing the lights into the dome, and I have my panel, PSI panel, and I got that diffuser cap that I made. It's just glued in. And this light, which is the rear PSI light, that's just going to sit right there in the panel. And then this is going to screw on. So let me get this screwed on, and then I'll show you what that looks like. So I am using the Teeces Light Kit. You can go online and purchase this, and essentially comes with all of the dome lights. It's a 5-volt system. Teeces Light can be found online at astromech.net. Mr. Fubar, that is the contact you want to reach out to. It comes with all of the following that are listed here online. It has a very descriptive video of how to put everything together. So it's really straightforward, really simple to implement. I have all of the electronics connected in, and there's the PSI, there's the rear light, there are the side or the front lights, and then the front PSI. So this comes with a number of cords. Let me get them. This kit comes with various sized cords. You want to start with the longest cord that you have. That's a better angle. So all of the parts are glued in. This battery case was a piece of junk. I've got it taped together. The top broke off, but it's just a 5-volt battery case, and the wires run into where it says 5-volt on your positive, which is red, and your negative, which is black. So this is where everything is going to start. So this extra long cable, I have this plugged into the slot that is all the way towards the back. There are 3 slots. You can see them. And you can see that it's labeled, if you can see that, out 2. And out 2, I've got this connected where the green is ground. And I'm not sure if you can see, can you see the negative, the positive on the far right? So I've got the negative going to green. And this green is my ground. So I'm going to simply take this over to one of my side or front lights right here. And I'm going to plug this in to where it says in, and you see that, and you can also see the ground, which is right there. So in, ground, should go like that. So there we are. Now we're going to take one of the shorter cables, just like a little 4-inch cable, and it also has green for ground, but I'm going to go into the out. You see where it says out? I'm now going to take the signal out. If I can get this plugged in here. It was really hard holding the camera and doing this. I think I got it. Okay, so now we're out, and we're going to go in, which is right there, onto the next light. So let me do that, come back. You can see that I have now gone out of one light and in to the other. Now I'm using a longer cable to go over here to my front PSI. It's coming out of the light, but we're going to go in. I don't know if you can see this. There we go. You see where it says ground in the middle? And then in is to the right side. So there's your ground, and I'm going to connect that. So your ground is actually going to go towards the middle. So let me connect that right here. And you can see green is ground, because that's what I've got connected here. Green is ground. And then it's going in to my PSI light, and the ground is on the middle side, or in the middle. I hope that makes sense. Now, what we're going to do to connect the rear PSI is take one more cable, and I'm going to come out of the next one, which is out 1, and I'm going to go in to my PSI where the ground is. Let me get that connected and I'll show you what it looks like. So I've completed that coming out of output 1 and going in to my other PSI, my front. That's actually my rear PSI. Now, this happens to be black is ground. I just chose whatever color that I had on ground over here on the main panel, and I kept that ground consistent. So now you've got, again, coming out of output 2 with the long cable all the way over here to your lights, going in, then coming out, going back in, then coming out, and then going into a PSI. The other PSI comes out of output 1 directly into the PSI. Now we just need to turn this on and see what it looks like. So it's going through its boot up process. There we have it. R2 is coming alive. Oh, that is so cool. I love how the diffuser is working really nicely on that PSI light. Let's come around to the back. Oh, that looks so cool. So amazing. Let's check out the rear PSI. That's also diffusing very nicely. Yeah, I might put another piece of wax paper in there so I don't get that honeycomb look from the light. Anyway, this is coming together and looking so good. Got to mount the eye, and that I am a little bit not looking forward to.
I'm going to probably screw it in, and I don't want to, yeah, I got to think about how I'm going to do that. But this is looking so cool.
All right, we have the eye installed. What I ended up doing is putting a little bit of yellow painter's tape, frog tape, very, very gentle on painted surfaces. I put it behind the eye and taped it on there, and then made some small indication lines on each side and top, pulled it off, sanded with some sandpaper the dome so that I had the paint clear, and then just CA glued the eye to the dome. I may eventually drill some holes from the backside and screw that down. But right now, that CA glue is really powerful. Now, for the eye, a lot of people, spend $30 on these little plastic snow globe decorations, or they buy big glass pieces. I just printed mine. This is it. This comes in the file, and you can see it's a little bit layery because you're printing it flat, so it's going to have some layers. You can't escape that. But you can check out my videos on how to sand, smooth, finish, and paint so that you get an extremely glossy surface. So this is just rattle can black. It's a flat black, and then I used a Duplicolor 1K high gloss sealer, and I think it looks pretty dang awesome. All in here is Rub and Buff. That is the same wax-based product that I used on the dome. And then for the side, I simply took an extremely small paintbrush and had some silver paint and just went in there and added that detail. So we have an eye. We have all of the pie pieces, plates, lights. We have the Holoprojectors. Now we need to get into the Lazy Susan and the bottom two rings. And how does this now attach and spin on the body? Let's show you what we did there. So let's get into the rings and the Lazy Susan. There are two rings, top ring, bottom ring. And essentially they sit on top of each other, like so. And I simply have attached them with button head M4 by 35 screws and installed an M4 locking nut at the bottom of each screw. That keeps everything nice and secure. The only one that I couldn't install was right here because the screw would come out too close to the PSI cap. No big deal. I've got, I think there's 13 of them in there. Couldn't do number 14, whatever, that's fine. So that is the bottom or the ring for the dome. Now, bear with me on this. This is going to seem complicated, but it's not. It just takes time. The instructions online to do this are pretty clear, but you have a dome, you have a ring that's for the dome, and essentially this will get screwed down onto the Lazy Susan. But the Lazy Susan is going to attach to the base ring, which goes on the body. And you can see here that I have attached that with some screws, and this is going to be different for every setup. So I couldn't tell you exactly what length of screw, what size of washer or lug nut or nut you need to put in there, but you essentially want to have about 1/8 of an inch gap from the dome to the body. And at the underneath the Lazy Susan, you have holes, and you simply put these longer screws, and they actually are a flathead screw because the hole is drilled out a little bit and it's flat, and that is going to go inside the dome. So if we come back over here to the dome, you can see that there are some holes. Those are receiving holes for the screws coming out of the Lazy Susan. So the key here is to make sure you have even spacing. I'm going to put this back on, and on my version, I'm using the Mark III body. You have these little notches at the end of these data ports. They're going to line up to the notches on this bottom ring. Let's see if I can actually get this on here with one hand. I don't have anything. So let's show you how this all comes together. The flat side of that dome ring support just rests on top of their holes, and they go right on top of those screws. And I will have spacers that will go between. You can see there's a little space. I'm going to screw some spacers in there so that this will actually be attached. And then once that's in there, this is just now a matter of lining up the holes in the dome to the screws that are on the Lazy Susan. And once you get those lined up, that will just simply sit on there. And there you have it. You can see that there's really good spacing all the way around on the rotation of the dome. Of course, I have to move this by hand since I don't have the dome motor hooked up, but this is looking fantastic. All the electronics are doing a great job, so this is phenomenal. Any questions and comments, please reach out, like and subscribe, and thanks for watching.